Hello everyone, Jason Porter here with another TGR EDU Create Educator Resource video. Today we're going to be talking about using phenomenon in your digital classroom. So phenomenon are really just observable events that bring realism and interest to your classroom. These can be used both in person and in a digital classroom. And if you're familiar with the next generation science standards, you know they're a pretty important part of that framework. But they can also be used for engagement. So if you caught our digital workshop 2 weeks ago, you know, we were talking about the 3 types of engagement. If you didn't, you can find it in our YouTube channel, and I definitely invite you to go and take a look at that. But those 3 types of engagement are cognitive, behavioral, and emotional. So phenomenon can really be helpful with that to stimulate thinking, for really getting that cognitive engagement with your students while doing digital learning, can promote student interest in joining, and so can get that compliance and behavioral part where students want to join because of the interesting things that you're talking about. And then finally can connect to what students are experiencing with that emotional engagement, and make sure they're present and able to learn in that time that you're together. So let's talk about a few different examples of how you can use phenomenon in these 3 different ways. So first off, you can use phenomenon kind of as a check-in. And so you can show a picture that may not be entirely clear right away to students what it is, and ask them, what is this? What evidence is there to persuade you or to persuade others that what you think it is actually what it is? And what questions would you ask to confirm your thinking? So for example, with our beehive here, students may look at it and say, well, I see that's this kind of a regular structure that has lots of little holes in it, and not all the holes are the same size, so it might look like it was made by something living. I also see it's in like a box or a crate, so maybe that was from somebody's beehive where they're growing bees and harvesting honey. So lots of interesting things for students to unpack and have a great conversation. This can be really helpful if you have this in a series where you have a picture like this thought-provoking check-in picture every time students join you, to really get the conversation kind of going and students bought in to being there with you at that time. And then they'll want to join because they don't want to miss out on those great conversations. Another example is to really kind of promote that deeper thinking with cognitive engagement. And so you could show a photo like this of a swimmer cutting through the water and ask students, is this a real photo? Does it really look like this? Or did someone make this on Photoshop? If it is a real photo, how is it possible that water is covering the swimmer in that way? And then how might they want to test or uncover evidence to confirm if this is possible? Could be really great if you're doing a properties of water unit or connecting to water in some other way to really get students to apply the things that they've been thinking and learning about to uncover if that picture could be real. And then a final way to use phenomena with your students is for that emotional connection. So you might show a picture like this and ask them, can you relate to this photo? So do any of you feel maybe like this boy sitting on the bench right now, kind of safe at the time, but kind of feel trapped and can't get out? But is there anything good in here? So maybe the boy feels like he's supporting the dogs. Maybe the dogs feel like they're supporting the boy, so they're kind of in this together, and at least they have each other while they're kind of trapped at this time. This can be especially important for younger students who may have a really hard time answering and articulating an answer to the question, how are you doing? How are you feeling? They may not be able to really come to that question with a lot of detail, but by looking at a photo like this might be able to relate to it, and you can make sure that those students are doing okay, and they're being engaged in a way in the learning that they can be emotionally involved in what's happening. So hopefully these examples were helpful to you to know how you can incorporate phenomenon into your digital classroom. I definitely want to leave you with some resources that you can use so you know how you can kind of get started with this as well. Okay, so the first resource I want to share with you is called Phenomenon for NGSS, for the Next Generation Science Standards. And this is a great website that has a phenomenon library of pictures and video. They give you some great things that you can bring in to look at different phenomenon in your classroom depending on what you're teaching. And you can see if you click on, you see our beehive here, if you click on one of the pictures, it gives you some context as to what's happening. So it helps you just kind of incorporate it a little bit better into your instruction. Another great website is from the Wonder of Science, and this is their phenomenon repository that also has pictures and videos that can help you with bringing phenomenon into your classroom, but aligns it to grade level and even standards. So this can really help you as you're getting started to learn how to connect it to what you're already teaching and find those phenomenon that are going to be most relevant. And then the final site that is great is from the New York Times called What's Going On in This Picture. So this is something they have weekly where they take a picture from one of their articles and they post it without the caption. And so you can ask students questions about what they think is happening and why they think it's happening. You'll notice if you click on these pictures that you actually can get involved in an online forum to talk about what you think is happening here and get questions answered by people that are involved with this picture. And then on Thursdays of every week, they reveal the caption and so in some background so you understand what was actually happening. These can be especially great with older students because there's usually a lot going on there for the complex pictures and can get them to really, think deeply about what's happening in the pictures. So hopefully these resources are helpful to you as you're thinking about how to get started with bringing phenomenon into your digital classroom and just into your general teaching. So I definitely want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you do get started with phenomenon you're teaching, we would love to hear about it. So please share and tag us on social media and use the hashtag TGREduCreate to tell us about it. If we can be of any help, please always feel free to email us or to check out our websites for any additional resources. And as always, our YouTube channel where you can find lots of links and other videos that we've recorded. Until next time, bye-bye.